I am so happy that Ascendance of a Bookworm Season 4 is getting a lot of motion, but it's actually not for the reasons why we wanted to get motion. In fact, it has nothing to do with the actual story of how good this isekai is, and more to do with the production committee and the staff that decided to use generative AI in its Season 4 opening. There's a bunch of different tweets that I've been seeing from a lot of different sides of the anime community. Most of them there are being very obviously opposing, the AI usage. But in this video, let's just go over some of the stuff that I thought was pretty interesting and just how people felt about it. So, with Studio, the ones behind The Sense of a Bookworm, I really recommend this anime. I think it's a really hard pill to swallow though for a lot of people to watch seasons 1 to 3. We're doing a watch through right now, and I can't in really good conscience really recommend this anime to like an average fan. I feel like if you're really into isekai stories, and if you're willing to wait for a very, very slow-paced, slow-burn anime, then this might be it for you. But for others, maybe not so much. But beyond the story again, we're talking about the overall state of affairs with the AI. So, here. Right here. This is it. AI-generated backgrounds in the opening of the new Ascendance of a Bookworm season. Very unfortunate. If you look at this, I believe this is kind of like what they're talking about. This art background here. This. Why is Ferdinand mewing right now? Wait, he's got a lot of aura here. And that's kind of what's going on. If you look at this image, right, I think that the part... Oh, hello, Shala. What's going on, girl? If you look at this part, I think a lot of people were pointing out stuff like this, right? Like this area, right? And how uncanny the symmetry, the proportions, right? Like if you really zoom in on this area, right? Like look at this part and look at this and just like how this is kind of drawn, right? Or even like this part, it looks very odd. You can kind of tell like when you consumed enough like generative AI slop, you can kind of tell there's like line work and different patterns that you can kind of see, and immediately, right, this structure, this here, right, stands out a lot to me. It's very like uncanny valley and many other examples, and that's kind of what people are going off of. Mind you, there's no way to know who's at fault here. The production is obviously handled by Wit, but the backgrounds in the opening were outsourced to a Vietnamese studio, Namhai Art. So that's kind of where it's at, right? A lot of people figured out that, man, like, Wit Studio has been for a while apparently quite AI positive, right? So here, opening was handled by Kazuto Nakazawa for storyboards and key animation, and the direction by Saki Fuji. This time, with the two of them standing as opening director, we went ahead and produced the opening. The group illustration for the final shot was done by animation director, blah, blah, blah. And that's just kind of the people giving the overall just like, hey, that's a great opening. And I haven't seen it just yet. Although generative AI is being used for the background, it's causing a huge uproar overseas. Are you really okay with that? Wit Studios is being seen worldwide as a shady anime company that uses AI slop and is steadily losing credibility. Now, I haven't really been aware of Wit Studios branding, but it sounds like in the past too, there has been other examples where Wit has been more pro AI and trying to really use that tool more so than other, I guess, animation studios. And in Japan, domestically, I'm not really sure what the overall opinion is. I would assume that for such a culture of people that appreciates art and artisans, right? And how AI can be like an abomination to God to them. The way that, like people like Miyazaki, I think, kind of talks about how this is like the Antichrist. AI usage is disgusting and it lacks any human soul. I feel like that's kind of like the opinions of a lot of people, especially internationally, who sees AI. It doesn't matter how good the opening may be. Little split frames of them using AI here is enough for them to shit on the entire thing, which is really sad because I feel like the entire thing probably isn't butchered by that. I doubt that the anime itself is going to be riddled with so much AI slop that it's going to be faltered. But through just a couple of quick scenes here is enough for people to start jumping on it, which is really sad to see. Right? So this is, again, some of the more other people just kind of... Hold up. Fuck, I hate this. Twitter player literally won't, like... Stop! Stop playing it! I swear to God, Twitter player on the web is so fucking broken that, like, sometimes it literally just won't even, like, fucking... There it is. I hope you die this week. I hope your favorite anime uses AI in its final arc. The studio calls it a creative tool. The director stays silent. Half the fandom calls you dramatic for noticing, and they announce the second season is way more terrifying. It's real and it's happening. So this is definitely the more complete extreme side of the spectrum where they are completely opposing AI. They fucking hate it. They think it's the absolute worst that's ever gonna happen. The I hope you die is weak. This is even worse of a fate than that. Now, I don't think that this is its final arc, right? The studio called it a creative tool. The director stayed silent. Half the fandom calls it dramatic for noticing. I think it's not really. I've seen, if anything, more than half people saying that it's not dramatic and that this is actually like really appalling that they would do such a thing. Okay, it's not the final arc. It's hypothetical. You mean it's a hyperbole. But for now, it's for not lasting long. That's the whole point of my tweet, folks. These things are fucking slippery slope. So the overall thing is a lot of people sees this and they're like, dude, it's just a couple background frames. Who gives a fuck? But it's about it being a precedent being set, right? Whenever we talk about censorship and how, oh, they're just censoring anime, titties and nipples and ass. Who cares? Just go jack off to hentai. It's about what that sets and how future scenarios can be more emboldened by the censorship or utilizing AI, right? As soon as one industry key player starts to utilize this, other people starts to notice, hey, maybe it's not that bad. Because I guarantee you a lot of people want to use this tech. Obviously they would. It's going to offload a lot of, manual work and be able to automate a lot of, stuff that might, make the production of anime more efficient. And because people are so against it online, they are afraid to go out and be public with it. Now that more people are daring to try something like this, even if it's a couple frames, right? That's what they're talking about, a slippery slope. You can argue as to say that this is ridiculous and it's never going to happen. But again, it's like, how do you know it won't happen, right? It can't happen. It won't happen. It's all up in the air. But a lot of people are just saying, hey, we've seen shit like this happen in the past where you let one step go and then more and more, starts to happen. The Chromafire coming in with the worst part is that it'll be normalized because to an average viewer, it's so insignificant that even what's pointed out, it doesn't seem like big of a deal. Yeah, absolutely. Like the average person that's not super sweaty online can't even fucking tell the difference. Also, this shows up for a couple of seconds, if not, it's like a fraction of a second. They won't even notice it, right? So it's very like subliminal. They won't recognize it. But to the people that are very sweaty about this, of course, they're going to be up in arms. And I'm pretty sure if you watch it casually without analyzing or rewatching carefully, you wouldn't notice anything. I guarantee you, if I watched this shit and I just kind of just played it through, I probably wouldn't have even noticed it, right? And a lot of people just kind of talking about this shit. I get that Wit, okay, probably Pretentious coming in with some takes about Wit. I get that Wit didn't make those AI background themselves. Again, it was the Vietnamese company that they what was it? They outsourced to. But at the same time, the part of me that really doesn't want to give them the benefit of the doubt, given their past actions. So interest. Which studio produces the Dog and the Boy anime short with AI generated background? This was something in 2023, and how they are very pro AI, right? Obviously, it goes without saying, but I'm severely disappointed, if not in outright disgusting, for everyone who is involved with the AI usage, as well as those who let it slip past intentionally or otherwise. I feel like it's one of those things where you try to speak out against it, your livelihood might be gone. So I don't really blame people, the directors or whatever involved, for like, what are they gonna do? Start, making a stance and say we're not gonna work on this anime anymore and drop the project because they use AI in the fucking opening backgrounds? At the same time, I think a lot of people want some sort of like accountability for industry players to like actually come up and step and say, hey, this is bad, stop it. Apparently they used AI to make the backgrounds, with the sentence opening. Really disappointed with that. Even if its opening was outsourced, Wit's also responsible for allowing this. Yeah, I don't think that like for a company that has used AI in the past like that, to then outsource the opening background shit to whatever other Vietnamese company, to say that Wit has no guilt in it is ridiculous, right? They're obviously complicit in it and probably green flagged it, right? The opening was not outsourced, the scenes were. Yeah, we're talking about the specific scenes. And of course, they probably got, like, what do you think? That like they just did AI independently and Wit was like, oh no, please don't use AI. I can't believe you use this. No, like clearly they fucking did it together. Come on, right? Come on. Mother's Basement coming in. This looks like garbage, but even if it didn't, it'd be antithetical to the do-it-your-own ethic at the core of Bookworm. Very disappointed to see what studios on this nonsense again. You know what? The core theme of A Sentence of a Bookworm, making shit yourself, right? The books, the ink, the paper, everything that mine goes through. Damn. That is kind of ironic, isn't it? That of all series, of any anime, to use this That's kind of poetic. The jokes write themselves, straight up. I saw a post saying this is better than forcing an underpaid outsourced worker to make this under a rush deadline, but I'd argue not underpaying them, not giving them a rush deadline, and not replacing them in general is a better solution. So it's really interesting how humanity, human beings can see one thing and have such different interpretations. Some people will see this and say, oh my god, we're overworking the animators. Thank god this tool exists such that they don't have to burden with that. But then the exact other counter is, well, how about a scenario where like they don't lose their jobs? How about a scenario where the work ethic and like the overall company and the work environment is so good that we don't have to rely on shitty tools to create this artificial, you know, like scarcity and, you know, constraints to then start fucking firing people's jobs. Again, it's like you can view things in such different ways. The underdog triumph of book lovers is blowing up because they use generative AI for the opening background, but it's dragging a ton of other stuff through the mud. And it's sad. No, it is actually really sad, right? Because like obviously couple background generative AI to completely dismiss everything else happening, not even just the opening, but like the anime episode itself. I heard it was pretty fucking good. It's really sad, and that's what gets traction. This is the personality, the pattern I hate the most. And like Wit Studios background job posting explicitly says generative AI. So they are explicitly listing that, yet we end up taking collateral damage from all the mess on other fronts. Womp womp. This is a very interesting part. So out of fucking nowhere, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 Chief Animation Director, Death Note as well, Animation Director, said that some animation studios are using AI in secret. You just can't really tell. Various studios are already using generative AI while keeping it quiet because it would cause us, you know, firestorm. Which studios do you think are doing that already, huh? Who's doing it? Are we so ignorant and stupid that we can't tell? No, I don't think it's Studio ACAT. Like, I straight up don't think Tibet is using it. Like, if they were... So... the thing about AI that I notice is that people get really fucking mad when they realize that it's AI. A lot of people sees, you know, AI tools and different implementation of AI, and sometimes it's so seamless. Like the way that you see CGI and people immediately get mad because it's CGI, but if it's like blended really well, they don't really even notice. Same thing with AI, right? Where it's just like, okay, you play this thing, you watch something, it was such a good experience. Then they tell you, holy shit, there was AI involved. And suddenly everyone will be like, ew, fucking disgusting, I hate that. And the reason they feel that way again, because it's not about like whether it looks realistic or if it stands out. It's about the core principles of not wanting this technology. Even if it provides you with such a good product that you didn't even think it was AI, it's more of like you use this tool. And this tool is basically poison to the industry and art itself. It's an insult and an affront to art because you are basically what? Downloading these models are based off of existing art. You're not innovating and creating new things. You're recycling and utilizing and stealing, I guess, the art style and generating new soulless content. And that's why people are very mad about it, no matter how good it might have been. Now, who is it? She also elaborates, I suspect that companies under the umbrella of large corporations that only look at the numbers do use it. Of course, we're getting bits and pieces of information here and there, but each company is keeping the secret because it would cause a firestorm. In response to Aniplex statement that they won't use AI, she says that their statement lacks credibility because orders come from higher ups. If a company that develops AI tech gives those orders to studios can't say no. She says studios like Ufotable don't need to use AI because they have very talented people. They will only diminish the work and hinder talent development. So there's some companies, I guess, that doesn't need it entirely. They have the talent, they have the resources. Would Studio Mappa ever use it? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I saw some slander of A1 Pictures and Solo Leveling being abused for AI. I feel like that was just a slander post, but wonder exactly which mainstream studios could be using it right now. You know? The biggest betrayal will be KyoAni, yes. KyoAni using AI. Oh my god, that would be quite the fucking slap in the face, huh? I feel like it's probably, if they're gonna be using AI, probably it's gonna be some random shitty ass companies like The Answer Studio, you know, Studio ACAT. Shit, maybe even 8-Bit Studio. I'm not gonna forgive them for what happened to Tensura and fucking, you know, Blue Lock for an extent, but who knows? This is some big drama. Just keep an eye out for that, guys. This one is more people just kind of, you know, expressing their discern for other people getting involved, right? That this shit is getting, basically, the whole team is getting shit on, right? It's sad to see. Quit an outsourced anime studio a while back because their pay was ridiculous for their workload of 40 cuts a month with $455 salary. Damn. The Japanese manager is a pro AI dude and even told me even if I don't work hard enough, AI will replace me. I was working as a second key animator the entire time. So yeah, I'm not surprised some anime studios start using AI from now on, to be honest, because they take a machine that don't delay, don't get sick, and don't have them paid, then they're human workers any day. Well, yeah, that's why people use AI, right? Why bother arguing and dealing with a human being that has these physical fucking needs when you can abuse a fucking machine to just do this fucking output, right? It's not going to complain. It's not surprising why, again, whenever you have business and corporations involved, that they would utilize that shit. It's not about treating people right and providing people livelihood. It's about providing a product and servicing the bottom line. And if AI is going to do that, then of course they're going to fucking do that, right? It's that's how it works. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you have a business getting, what's it called? You have a business overlapping with art, and there's a compromise. It's so embarrassing how Japanese viewers who fundamentally don't understand at all what's wrong with using generative AI saying stuff like, oh, this much is fine, don't watch it if you hate it, over the whole thing about anime opening using generative AI. So again, Japanese people, I guess, kind of having a little bit of infighting with their own community. There's a couple of people that I'm sure are saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal. You can't even tell it's a big difference. Just don't watch it. But again, a lot of people are taking this in a very principled way. It's not about if you weren't able to discern it or not. It's not about, you know, if you like didn't even notice it. It's about the fact that you're using it and how that sets a precedence for, again, other key industry players to just kind of adopt this thing. More people kind of talking about, you know, how there's lost in trust of Japanese, you know, media because of AI. The Japanese anime industry should, upon witnessing the massive backlash against its cinema bookworm, once again be deeply concerned that the use of generative AI poses a serious risk. Even without it, at a time when AI slop is already being despised, if it's perceived overseas as Japanese anime uses generative AI, then the anime boom will end in an instant. I honestly don't think this could happen unless like Mappa and Ufotable and all of them started using AI like that, right? The whole narrative that I don't really see narrative being made of like, oh my god, Japanese animation is so much using AI slop. If anything, it's going to be specifically to which studios and them only. Gonna be honest, the discourse around the bookworm opening was a bit wild. Yes, I'm 100% against AI and anime, but this isn't just with studios lazy. There's so much more nuance that the people are missing. Tell me more. The background were outsourced to Nami High Art, again the Vietnamese, you know, studio. They are some random small studio that they've worked with, whether with you, G Quux, and Near Anime. Seeing a studio of this caliber resort to AI, in my own opinion, is very weird and kind of shocking. So, kind of like a significant player utilizing AI. And if WIT actually wanted to use AI, they could have just done it in-house. Why pay a pro studio to outsource it? To me, it feels like the result of a rush schedule or zero oversight. I mean, why would they pay for something they could have even done themselves with a few prompts? On top of that, did it really take that much time to make those opening visuals? Like, the whole notion that like, oh, they didn't have enough time or scheduling. Bro, what were the actual frames? Fucking nothing, right? Like does it take that much time to make this background? You know what I mean? It's not as if there were crazy storyboarding and just like, you know, key animations being done. That's why I feel like this is even funnier and more ridiculous, because this could have been such a nothing burger that could have been just done by hand, yet they relied on this and now there's this fucking big drama. It's stupid. And if we actually wanted to me, it feels like a result of a rush schedule, blah, blah, blah. For those worrying about what pieces for 4 seasons, I don't think we'll see the AI there. It's kind of talking about how, you know, which studio might be utilizing AI in other future projects. It's fucking stupid. Disappointing to see. I think what's worse is they're in a blink and you'll miss it in shots, meaning they could have just, exactly, they could have just put in simple texture, licensed stock images, or anything else. They could have just not had a background. They could have just fucking shit on the opening and people wouldn't have shit on it, bro. It's so sad. It's such a, it's so stupid. And then this is really sad, right? This is a person that actually worked on the project, right? I'm honored to be in charge of the ending and the sub-character designs, so not the opening. They worked on the endings. Please watch it and if possible read the original work too. It'd be sad to see, you know, artists like this and other talent that worked on this shit get shit on it too, but that's how it works, man. Overall, I think that AI is just an inevitable thing that's going to happen. Art is very tricky because people want to express themselves and it doesn't need to be a business, but this is a business. And with tools coming in, other people are going to just utilize it. If you're not going to do it, other people will. And the assumption at that point is that, well, if other people are going to do it, if it's actually like good enough, then the meta will change and other competitors will have to simply adapt to the changes or they're going to fall behind. So we won't know exactly how good the AI will become and how much it's going to be used and will other key players, you know, utilize this tool. But I feel like something like anime where it's all hand drawn, right? Not all hand drawn. Obviously, there's 3D tech and a lot more other techniques involved, but something like anime, sakuga, animation, art, to be relying on tech like this, it is kind of sad to see. For what? So that just improve corporate just bottom line. And you know what the saddest thing is too? People that then immediately defend the businesses and corporations for utilizing AI and saying it's not that big of a deal because you wouldn't even notice it. I don't know. It's like, why is your first inclination to side with the companies rather than thinking about the talent and the art that made the animation industry what it is, to then immediately fold over and just say, oh, it's not that big of a deal? I understand that these background images are not that big of a deal if you look at the incidents, this immediate thing. But so many people only can see the tree in front of them and can't comprehend a forest behind them. They can't abstract and think about like what this could do. And if more key players, what studio is not just like a random studio. This is a pretty big studio and they have made some great anime, some great produced anime. And for them to start doing this and for other industry, talent to start kind of adopting that, now that creates a precedence, right? You may think that it's not that big of a deal, but like, dude, every vote counts. And the bigger of a movement there is of people that are positive and more likely wanting this shit, or even being neutral about it, they're listening, they're watching, and they see the overall commotion, and then one day, everything just becomes AI slop. Who knows? It is what it is. At the end of the day, you can't halt technology. I just hope that this tool is going to be utilized in a way that doesn't feel soulless, but actually aids in the production of anime and makes it overall just better.